Think about a relationship in your life that didn't end in a fiery explosion, but just slowly faded away. Maybe it started with a missed birthday or a careless comment at a dinner party. You say nothing in the moment, and the silence begins its own destructive work. You don't want to ruin the vibe, so you send a casual, all good text. Those two words act as a perfect shield. They shut down conversation while signaling to the other person that you are deeply wounded. You endure weeks of awkward small talk, while a massive resentment calcifies between you. When a human being is in a highly charged emotional state, their physiological arousal causes what psychologists call flooding. Your heart rate elevates, the amygdala is hijacked, and the brain operates purely in fight or flight mode. Logic takes a back seat. In that flooded state, our modern communication tools hand us a loaded weapon. Texting is designed to be completely frictionless. It removes the distance between feeling a painful emotion and firing off a defensive reaction. We have built a global infrastructure optimized for instant delivery. But when human emotion is involved, speed is the enemy of emotional truth. There is an alternative approach, built inside a private social journaling app called DunbarrioSolo. Instead of encouraging endless connections, it collapses your network to exactly 150 people. This is based on Dunbar's number, a sociological theory capping our cognitive capacity at 150 stable connections. Within this ecosystem is a specific conflict resolution feature called repair mode. You cannot simply open this tool to pick a fight with a casual acquaintance or a stranger on the internet. Access is strictly locked behind a rule of reciprocity. The system requires two mutual connections to have a documented history of supportive exchanges, meaning they have engaged with each other's private reflections multiple times over the preceding weeks before the tool even unlocks. You cannot walk into a gym off the street and attempt a maximum weight deadlift. The same logic applies here. An active digital infrastructure of care must exist before the system trusts you with the heavy weight of a repair. Once two people step into this space, a single rule governs the entire experience. Raw text never crosses the digital divide. This screen shows phase 1. The user types their raw frustration privately. Below, an AI extracts objective events and needs, stripping away sarcasm. The user maintains control, explicitly clicking Approve and Continue before advancing. This is the pause screen. Even after approving the summary, nothing is sent. Both users are locked out by a mandatory countdown timer, often a full 24 hours. Their interactions within the app are strictly capped, so they cannot endlessly ruminate. A 2019 study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology proves why this wait is necessary. Researchers found that forcing temporal distance between a conflict and the discussion of that conflict significantly improves perspective-taking and reduces hostility. The heat of the moment chemically bonds anger to an event. Time acts as a solvent. It dissolves those hostile attributions before the other person ever receives a single word. When the timer expires, we enter phase 3. This interface shows how the neutralized summary is delivered. It is broken down into discrete points, each with its own row of specific response actions, preventing the reader from being overwhelmed. If a point triggers a defensive reaction, the user clicks "Help me sit with this." The digital mascot provides a prompt, interrupting the instinct to counterattack, reminding the reader that two people can hurt from the same event from different angles. The system then shifts from analyzing the past to building a future. This status screen shows the transition into phase 4, named Ground. The pacing remains entirely asynchronous and non-pressured, displaying a simple waiting status until both parties complete their next task. The task here is heavily restricted. Users cannot list out an itemized catalog of grievances. They are forced to articulate exactly one condition that must be met for the relationship to move forward. When we are hurt, our needs often read as hostile demands. Forcing the choice of a single foundation reframes those demands into a structural floor, turning a battleground into a workable space. This brings us to phase 5. For the first time in the entire process, actual human-composed words cross the divide. This interface allows the user to write their own message, seeded from the prior phases, and includes a critical check before sending button. This tone check screen reveals the AI's final safety mechanism. It flags specific microlanguage, like the phrase, "that's on both of us." It warns that while the writer may intend to sound collaborative, the other person will likely read it as a defensive hedge. The friction of a tone check gives you a chance to soften your own armor. It saves relationships by preventing the clumsy, defensive language that frequently causes the fatal blow during an apology. We are deeply conditioned by modern software to expect a neat, happy ending. Every app wants to give us a bright green checkmark and a congratulatory animation, pressuring us to sweep lingering pain under the rug just to clear a notification bubble. Repair mode completely rejects that premise. In the final phase, this interface provides a dense, private paragraph observing how the user's emotional position shifted throughout the process. There is no simple success animation here. Instead, the system offers two equal archive states, resolved and irresolvable. Both require mutual agreement to close the session. If the two people disagree, the session simply stays open. Irresolvable is not categorized as a failure state. It is an honest acknowledgement of a profound human reality. Some people change in directions we cannot follow, and some gaps simply cannot be bridged. Treating a permanent ending as a software failure is a subtle form of psychological harm. Granting dignity to a natural conclusion honors the truth of what actually exists between two people. If both people recognize the gap cannot be bridged, the app leaves them with this. This was named, held, and set down with care. That is enough.